All right, just 1 week actually to go before union workers at dozens of ports along the entire East Coast, you can see them right there, and the Gulf Coast, have a major strike that could have major impacts on the supply chain. And what's worse is the unions set to strike are apparently working with the West Coast ports to also have them refuse additional shipping routes. More than 60% of our imported goods in our supply chain come from our shipping ports. A strike would cost the U.S. $5 billion a day. And what do these dock workers want? As usual, it's more money, don't we all? In fact, there are reports that they're asking for as much as 70% raises. But here's the gig. There's not more money to give them. UPS tried this. They had this massive threat of a strike. They wanted huge pay increases, and then they were given them. And just a few months later, what happened? Oh, they laid off 12,000 people because the money wasn't there. The same thing happened with the UAW, the United Auto Workers Union. There's only so much money in the pot. And if you try to redirect more of that money to the same people with no increase in productivity, you will force one of three options: automation, massive layoffs, or permanent damage to the economy. All of these end in you and I paying more for our goods. Joe Biden has the authority to stop this strike, too, because of national security implications, which it is. I think it was because he was snubbed in office. He's not lifting a finger. President of Stelmark LLC Business Development Consultants Hillary Fordwich and Research Fellow in Economics at the Heritage Foundation, Joel Griffith. Hillary, I don't understand why these unions don't at least, I mean, they're probably getting more money in their pocket and their coffers, too. But at the same time, they're going to have massive swaths of layoffs within their unions.
Well, pleasure to be back with you, Carl. And let's not fear, because don't forget, Joe Biden, he always touts being a union man. Surely he's going to step up and solve this for us. Yeah, like he has other things during his presidency. Right. Absolutely not. Let's not hold our breath for that. But you would actually think these dock workers would look to what has just happened at GM. They are now laying off nearly 700 workers. That's going to be November 18th. And happy Thanksgiving to them. And the rest are going to be in January. And GM did that deal with, as you mentioned earlier, the United Auto Workers. So you'd think they'd look to other industries, and you'd think they'd have the sense to know that if they do this now, you're right, it's not going to be one of the three options you mentioned. It's going to be all of the options you mentioned, because California, with the minimum wage raised over there, look what's happened. They are automating all of the fast food restaurants, and the same thing is going to happen to a greater extent, just like it has to Detroit in terms of the auto manufacturing. It will happen to the dock workers. So this is short-sighted. It is not long-term thinking.
Yeah, if you could automate one of the most pain-in-the-butt things, peeling an avocado, you can automate basically anything. All right, so Joel, last week at his town hall in Flint, Michigan, Trump spoke about slashing energy prices as the route to fixing the economy. Everyone wants policy? There's your policy. Listen to this.
We have to start always with energy, always. I don't want to be boring about it, but there's no bigger subject. It covers everything. If you make donuts, if you make cars, whatever you make, energy is a big deal, and we're going to get that. It's my ambition to get your energy bill within 12 months down 50%. If I can do that, you've done a hell of a job. 5-0, not 15, 50.
But, you know, Joel, why don't people understand that, especially on the left, if it costs us to drive the item, if it costs us to heat the item and move the item and produce the item, and the item itself costs less money, everything will cost less for everybody. And that all comes from petroleum.
No, very right. And, you know, we're very fortunate right now to be producing more oil and more natural gas than at any other time in American history. It's a big part of the reason why natural gas prices are not all-time lows. Oil prices are actually down substantially from $120 a barrel a few years ago to right around $70 a barrel today. And that's no thanks to the Biden administration. We know that they have put in place plans that would actually shutter large parts of the fossil fuel industry. So it's very important that we maintain these strong sources of affordable fuel. But if we want to really become more competitive in manufacturing, which we are actually producing near all-time highs in goods right now, we need to actually welcome things such as foreign direct investment. Unfortunately, we see candidates on both sides of the aisle. They're actually trying to scuttle billions of dollars worth that would be coming in from Japan, for instance, to revitalize the Pennsylvania steel industry. This is what we need to make us more competitive. And back to the union point, these big labor bosses have really been a scourge on our industry for many years now. It's a big part of the reason why factories shuttered across places like Ohio and Michigan and moved down south to places like Alabama and Tennessee because they have right to work. And we need to see our candidates focus on what we know keeps our manufacturing sector strong. That's free trade, affordable energy, and right to work.
100%. All right, we got to leave it right there. Appreciate it. Hillary Fordwich, Joel Griffith, appreciate you coming in.
Pleasure.
Thank you.